Is Tesla becoming a little too much like Apple Computer, and is Elon Musk becoming like Steve Jobs? And I don't necessarily mean it in a good way, and I'll explain. And you guys go ahead and let me know in the chat room, and if you're watching in the replay, of course, definitely put in the comments. But the reason I'm even bringing it up, because Steve Wozniak had an interview earlier this week, and he said that he just does no longer trust Tesla and Elon Musk. He said that, listen, you know, they promised that the autonomous driving features will be much more advanced, that the Tesla Model S would be able to drive coast to coast by the end of 2016. As we know, that didn't really happen, and I'm with Steve on this one. I think it's no secret that Tesla is really behind on their autopilot technology, and their breakup with the Mobileye, that now is Intel, was something that really slowed them down. But I find it a little funny. Well, by the way, and there's another thing is, Steve is not all the way there. Sometimes I think is because he also claimed that he has two Tesla Model S, two Tesla cars. And he says that on the weekend he drives a Tesla, but during the week he prefers a Chevy Bolt. And this is where I call BS. And no offense to anybody who has a Chevy Bolt. It's a nice car, great range. I think could be better in looks, but hey, nevertheless, a great electric car. However, I think that anybody who drives a Chevy Bolt would admit that if somebody would offer them to swap it for Model S, or money wasn't an object, they would definitely prefer Model S. Model S is a much, much better car. As a matter of fact, Model 3, I think, is a better car than a Chevy Bolt, but nevertheless. And so when he says that, it just makes me feel like he's trolling, or he's just trying to cause some problem or get some extra interviews. So I don't believe that. But, Steve brings up a good point, because Apple, just like I said, Tesla is kind of becoming a little bit like Apple, and that there's a concern, right? For example, do we really want to go through another war of which charging plug we want to go with, right? Do we want to go through the well, another thing is pricing, right? Like, I would like the Tesla to compete in pricing, sort of in pricing, basically is what I'm saying. And I also don't like the fact that Tesla wants to do everything on their own. They're even thinking about doing their own Pandora service, right? They're developing their own chip instead of using NVIDIA's. They're now using, developing their autopilot instead of using Mobileye or some other third party. So, I'm just, and this closed kind of ecosystem is good in some ways, but I think overall it's bad in overall just bad for consumers. Ari in the chat room says, so can they not meet with the autopilot? They still live by good principles and do great things. People have great plans and may not meet all of them. Yeah, listen, here's the thing, yes, I know Elon Musk promises a lot of things, but the thing is, he also delivers on them, right? He delivers just a little late, but with the autopilot, you have to admit, he did not really deliver. So that's, that's what Steve was talking about. By the way, guys, if you haven't seen this video on my channel, I did a video back in the day when my channel used to be called Everything Tesla about what would happen if Apple would buy Tesla, right? And I just kind of did a fake news report, what if. So if you want to watch it, actually this video is linked to in the description of this video, so you can get a laugh. Now, I released this video with no warning, kind of almost like April Fool's Day. That wasn't on April 1st, and I freaked a lot of people out. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. So I really hope they're not going to be like Apple, but we'll see. So I just thought that Steve kind of brought up an interesting point, that out of all people, accusing of Tesla being, out of all people who's saying, well, I don't trust, Tesla, they're becoming the brand that's all about the hype. It's funny that it, came from a co-founder of Apple. So, all right, guys, I'm going to move on. But before that, just want to remind you that this channel and this video is sponsored by Evernex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. And if you're looking to buy something from them, but like I do all the time, both of my Teslas have Evernex accessories. Go ahead and grab your own discount code in the description of this video. They've provided that specifically for this community, so enjoy that. You can save a few extra bucks. The next story is about Mercedes-Benz. Now, a lot of people kind of been giving them a hard time because they're a German manufacturer. And granted, they're a little behind, but they're not as behind in a lot of others like BMW and Volkswagen. I want to talk about that story. I caught up with them at the CES, and the video of that is already up on my channel. You can check it out. I have a couple of interviews with some of their representatives, and it's pretty interesting. I still believe they BS'd me a little too much, but today, you know, today they've actually came out with an announcement that, you know, not only they already invested over $1 billion into this electrification effort by 2022, which is pretty aggressive. You have to say that all of their fleet will have at least one version in electric drivetrain. I welcome that for sure. But today they also announced that they're going to have 6 factories. They're going to build 6 factories dedicated to it. And most importantly, they're going to have their own battery supply chain network. And that is actually the indication that they're pretty serious about it, right? You can build as many electric car factories as you want, but if you don't have a supply of batteries that provide good range and you're consistently working on them and improving, then you might be in trouble. And this is why Tesla is once again so far ahead of everybody with their Gigafactory. Kudos to Mercedes. You know, I'm definitely keeping my eye on it. Once again, I know they're German manufacturer, but hey, if they're gonna move forward with this, I think this is really going to work out. I really enjoy their concept cars, and I hope they come to life, which they should in another year. Let's see. They can do it, says Gabriel Vargas in the chat room, because they have a lot of money. Yeah, and that's kind of been a point of mine, that some of the bigger manufacturers can afford kind of a sitting back and watching the rest of the industry kind of fight it out in front of them. And then once they settle on certain technology or sort of certain way to move forward, then they can go ahead and say, okay, we're going to do it, and we can do it overnight because we got a lot of money, a lot of staff, a lot of talent, and we can move forward much faster. So that's definitely good news. Kudos to Mercedes. Now, the next story comes from Harley Davidson, believe it or not. They are definitely a good old boys, you know, gas, motorcycle, manly man kind of a company. But guess what? They are going electric as well. They are working on an electric motorcycle, and they're saying it's going to be a reality in about 18 months. Now, they had a prototype a few years back. This is a picture of it that they kind of played around with an idea. I think that one of the prototypes had a range of like 60 miles, which wasn't much. But now they're going to go for it, so it will be interesting to see whether their base will follow, or they will just gain also a lot of more new enthusiasts are gonna, you know, get into Harley Davidson. Now, Zero Motorcycles, and there are other motorcycle companies that are already doing it. They have a pretty decent range, so Harley Davidson has a lot to catch up to. But nevertheless, that's good news for them as well. Let me go back in the chat, and I think we're just gonna go a little bit back to the story, the Apple story. Rhinestone Cowboy says, I think that Steve doesn't like the fact that Tesla is getting much more press now than Apple. That could be. I have to say, Steve has been kind of a media whore lately. I mean, he would just say something about Tesla, about a hot topic, just to get on the news, I feel like. So that probably is partially true. Also in the chat room, I lost this. Oh, Monkey Right says, Alex, I agree with what you said about the delays. However, when Elon finally does it, it grades to so autopilot, I have a feeling, will blow our socks off. Yeah, listen, every time Elon Musk delivered, he delivered, okay? I'm just saying he's not delivering now. I'm sure the next generation of autopilot is going to be mind-blowing. Agreed. That's what I expect. But he is falling behind a lot of other manufacturers. So that's that. Fanto L in the chat room also says, Harley Davidson stock was down like 8% due to the low sales. All vehicle manufacturers need to understand we want electric. Well, I mean, electric is kind of a tough sell for the guys who like to make a lot of noise, right? For the Harley Davidson fans. So this is definitely interesting development. But yeah, I mean, electric is the way to go all the way. So they're going to take a stab at it. It will be interesting to see what happens. So I'm excited for them. Kudos for them for doing that. All right, guys, let's move on to my favorite part of the show, comment of the day. This comment of the day comes about the story that I covered yesterday, and I think a lot of media outlets are covering now. It's based on a coverage by New York Times about Volkswagen, Mercedes, Bosch, and BMW being exposed back in 2014, doing animal testing, figuring out what the effect of gasoline fumes would produce on humans. They could have just asked me. I could have said it was not good. But nevertheless, this is a really heartbreaking story. Now, Volkswagen at that time was already cheating with what became a Dieselgate. So it's all, I mean, a lot of your a lot of your comments yesterday on that video was that, you know, Volkswagen needs to be punished with penalties and just be completely boycotted. And a lot of you, and including myself, had really kind of struck a heart a little bit when it comes to animals and animal testing for really no big reason whatsoever. So anyway, the comment of the day comes from Nigel, one of the most active people in the chat room and in the comment section. Nigel, I appreciate you becoming such a great big part of this community, so thank you. He basically said should test on chairman of Volkswagen and Mercedes and Setter car executives. And actually I have to say, funny or not, a lot of you guys said that. A lot of said, listen, you know, the punishment should be doing tests on the executives. Now, you know, all jokes aside, you know, I mean, there are laws against animal cruelty. They've not only done that. Of course, I'm all for you know, justice system to take this on, and you know, if they really are guilty of this and this is considered animal torture, then and there are laws against it, then they should definitely go to jail for it, and the company should definitely be fined. And I have to say, guys, I don't want to rush to judgment, but don't think I'm going to be considering Volkswagen cars, regardless of how electrifying their move forward is going to be, because of the Dieselgate and the now Mercedes-Benz and BMW and Bosch have a lot of answering to do. I hope the heads are roll, you know, there, and we'll see what happens. But there's definitely a disgraceful story coming out of those three automakers, and also Bosch, the auto part supplier. Let's see. So yeah, thank you for the comment of the day. I have to say it's been pretty active on in that video. A lot of people have opinions about it, so thank you for that. So that's pretty much what we're going to be dealing with probably in the next few weeks. Even the story is definitely going to keep going, and it's just sad. Rhinestone Cowboy in the chat room says it's not known for sure that the car companies knew that was going on, animal and human testing. Actually, they did. I mean, there's a movie. Damn it, I forgot. I mean, there's a movie out right now on Netflix, and somebody remind me in the chat room, please, what it's called. But it's exactly about that, and there are interviews with those car companies that said that they knew. And by the way, I'm not gonna buy it if they're gonna say that they did. No, I mean, when you set up a research company and a facilities and so forth, and you're conducting this, I doubt that they didn't know what the plans are. As a matter of fact, from what I understand, at first in Germany, they did it on, I think, 20 humans. Now, those were volunteers, but nevertheless, they thought it was perfectly fine to literally expose humans to gas. And this is just, Germany doesn't have a good history of that. I'm just going to leave it at that. But there were a lot of comments about it as well in the comment section for that video. But I appreciate you guys having this conversation going. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on the story. But that's it for today. I definitely appreciate all of you guys hanging out with me in the chat room. We're going to all meet tomorrow, hopefully here. Tomorrow, I'll be here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Other than that, I will see you next time. And remember to stay charged.